It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you were.
Good morning and welcome to Where You Live. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning. I didn't know Michael Bublé's song had sleigh bells
Had
in
jingle
it.
bells?
Yes.
Well, must be the time of year.
The Christmas version.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're glad you're with us today, folks, on Where You Live. We've got a bunch of great topics to cover today. The first is a story that's real interesting, where failure to send back a security deposit could mean a sweet little Christmas bonus for a renter this year. We'll talk about that. The big topic, of course, on the big show today on Where You Live, insurance. A lot of people know that if you've ever had to go through settling an insurance claim, that can be a real frustrating process. It's certainly not a kid's game, but sometimes it seems like it's played like one, and we'll talk about what that means. And how about this? When it comes to settling insurance claims, do you have to accept the insurance company's offer, or is it a matter of all's fair in love and in insurance?
And that's an excellent question. We want our listeners to call in with their questions and comments. 651-289-4488.
Yes. And our guest today is an attorney who spent years working with big insurance companies to help minimize paying out on claims. Now he's kind of switched sides and is playing on our team, and we'll be talking to him. And he's going to be covering the three most important considerations when dealing in an insurance claim. So some great stuff to talk about. We'd, of course, love to hear what's on your mind. We'd love you to participate. Like Tony said, 651-289-4488 is the number. But now is time for property management in the news. And as I mentioned, today's topic is failure to send back security deposit could mean Christmas bonus for renter this year. Victor Hortaleza rented an apartment earlier this year at the Crestview Terrace Apartments because his family's house was being remodeled. When it came time to move back home last June, Hortaleza said he turned in the keys to the landlord and was told that his $300 security deposit would be returned. Now, state law in Minnesota requires landlords to return rental deposits within 21 days. Yet, 6 months later, Hortaleza had not seen a check. He called the Crestview's owner, Property Services, on October 25th and said he was told the check would be mailed that day. When the check still didn't arrive, Hortaleza called 2 more times and said he was told earlier that Property Services had mailed the deposit. The company said it would cancel the seemingly lost check and send another, but they would be docking about $30 from the security deposit to cover the bank's stop payment fee on the previously released check. Hortaleza was irked. He felt he had lived up to his end of the bargain, deserved all of the $300. Is it legal in Minnesota for a landlord to deduct such a fee? Well, definitely, said Bob Meyer of Property Services. He said although state laws require landlords to return the money promptly, it's not a landlord's fault, he said, if renters don't leave a forwarding address, which Hortaleza did not. In addition, Meyer said state laws on what fees can be assessed of a renter don't apply when the tenant has moved out and the contract is over. They're no longer tenants, Meyer said. The law doesn't say what happens after tenancy. I know my rights, Hortaleza was quoted as saying. When a landlord jacks around a tenant like this, he's going to find himself owing me 3 times my security deposit when I take him to court.
It's a sad story and completely avoidable.
Completely avoidable.
Right?
Yes.
Right. I think the property management company or owner, Property Services, is right in saying it's the responsibility of the tenant to leave a forwarding address. In fact, state statute says that.
Yeah, they don't know where to send it otherwise.
That's right. So what we normally do then, if we have not received a forwarding address, we mail the security deposit, refund, or reconciliation to the last known address.
Yes, and I think that is what is considered the prudent thing to do.
That's right. That's right. So that's the rental address, and you just one hopes that they have put through a forwarding
address,
a change with the post
bada
office,
boom,
and
bada bing, they
there
get
you
it.
go.
Yeah.
It's unclear exactly what happened. Of course, we don't see anybody's proof. We don't see the owner's proof that it was mailed in a timely fashion. We don't see Hortaliza's proof that he gave them a forwarding address.
You know, it's interesting, though, Hortaliza, who certainly seems to know
that
his
rights.
he has rights, that he's going to get 3 times the security. If he had also given I would think that a man who knows that much detail probably also knows the idea that you need to leave a forwarding address, and maybe that he left that out, but who knows?
Yeah, we never hear the whole story, do we,
No,
Gene?
you never do.
And so it's difficult. But I agree that the owner should be able to collect that $30 bank fee because if there was no forwarding address. But I don't agree with the owner when he says since they're no longer tenants, the law doesn't apply anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's a little.
That seemed a little supercilious, I guess, if you ask me.
Ooh, nice word.
I think he was, I guess, talking above his head there, because I think there is a contractual agreement that goes all the way to the end, even though the person's no longer in the unit. I think that there is that implied and even written obligation.
Well, yes, the security deposit is definitely covered by state statute. So until that issue is resolved, you're still in a contractual arrangement, I think.
Yeah.
But Hortaliza was also right about the potential penalties to the owner.
So there could be a Christmas bonus if it is indeed found out that they never sent it.
That's right.
One question that that I know a lot of people have asked from time to time, and that is, is that automatic? If I'm renting an apartment, I move out and I don't get anything in 21 days. Mm-hmm. Boom! It's automatic that I can get that money. A person's got to take them to court.
Well, because I guess if they didn't send it to you in the first place, they're not going to automatically send you 3 times the amount.
Yes.
Do you think?
Well, no, but I don't think it would it be necessarily given. Do you think if the person were, in your experience, the person received it, let's say 28 days later, and so they say, hey, I got my money back, but it took longer, a week longer. I'm taking them to court because I want 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know that the court would necessarily do that.
I don't think they would, but in that case, it's up to the court.
It really could.
I have heard judges say, you got it, you're whole now, and so there's no further argument here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, but the bottom line here is if you're a landlord, and, the one thing that's great is the people that we deal with in the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association, they know this, and they're asking for that new address to send the security deposit. They're responsible folks.
Sure, that's right. Our move-out inspection, there's the blank right there. So, fill it in. Get it down there.
That, even if the renter doesn't offer it, a good landlord is asking for that.
In fact, we send a letter as soon as we get their notice to vacate. We send a letter with instructions on moving out, what needs to be cleaned, what needs to be turned in, and the fact that you need to provide a forwarding address. So we're trying to cover it every step of the way.
But the other side of the coin, like you said too, is if you are a renter, if you don't give that forwarding address, for the property management company, the landlord, to later have to put in a fee for a stop payment because of an earlier release check, that's reasonable. A reasonable cost, I would think.
There's another use for that forwarding address, and that is when the CRPs are sent out in January.
End of the year, another good reason to do that. Well, that is Property Management in the News, and that, of course, has been brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call, 952-894-9748, Pest Control Services. When we come back, we're going to be talking about insurance. It's not a kid's game, but sometimes played like one. We'll be back after this.